Hello, welcome to Intersection and Chats. I am Reme Mancera. I am a personal brand story strategist. I am delighted to be here today with Brianna. Thank you, Brianna, for being here. Hello.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Can you please let us know what you do and what is your business about?
Yeah, I would love to. So, my name is Breanna Owen. I work with service-based business owners and entrepreneurs to really help them burn the playbook and build email strategies that are meant to and designed to work with them and their energy specifically. So, I use an email energetics framework that I have built and developed over time to really help these business owners take email and turn it into take it from being a chore to their most aligned, trust building, profitable marketing channel within their business.
Awesome. So today we are going to talk about the intersection between personal brand story and emails, especially selling in emails.
Uh-huh.
So my first question will be about what has been your experience in the point of connection of those two topics.
Yeah. Well, I think there are a couple of things that happen when I think about selling in general, when we're talking about email or other content even. But for the business owner, it can feel so hard for people to feel like they're selling. They don't There's something about selling that we still have to work on and demystify and take the danger out of it. I work with a lot of female entrepreneurs and female business owners, and there could be something in that even too about how women just they don't want to feel salesy, they don't want to feel icky and whatnot. And so on one, it's a two-sided thing, right? Like we've got to help the entrepreneurs and service-based business owners be comfortable to sell their service that they have to share with the world, and we want to make sure that what they do put out there and sell lands. And I think everybody, like marketing 101, is that story is the oldest form of communication, and it is the easiest way to get a point across, help people feel something, is through story. And so I'm constantly like, how can we sell this by telling a story?
Mm. Yeah, and this is something that I feel like is like sometimes we like overthink, especially at the beginning of business, like overthinking about how you hear of these messages of sharing your vulnerability and using storytelling and all of that. And sometimes we go to think even that we need to pretend to be someone else or
Hmm.
make our stories more interesting or
Yeah.
like pretending things. And then when you go back to, okay, what is my core message, what is the the core invitation, as we know each other from Mickey's communities, and she always uses this
Where's
idea
the
of
dots?
inviting someone as the opposite of selling someone something. So it's
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
just
Yep.
different framework.
Yep. Yep.
um and yeah, I feel like that, like, yeah, the stories are like this amazing tool to bring your points, to create connection, to build
Yeah.
trust. And I feel that
Exactly.
especially now, especially, of course, always around selling you need to build trust, and you, if you don't trust the other person, it's not, doesn't make sense. But yeah, I feel like, especially, I don't know yours, but my inbox is full of messages arriving, and then it's like, okay, how from all these messages something touch me, something makes sense for me, is meaningful. I feel
Yeah.
their storytelling is really powerful.
Yeah, for sure. And we've got oh, there was something else within that, and now my brain is like, just kidding. No, there's not.
Okay. It will come back.
It'll come back, right? If it's meant to be, it'll come back. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was
Oh,
about.
that's what it was. Like sometimes also with our storytelling, we feel like, oh gosh, how do I make a big story out of this? And I think people forget that a story can literally be one or two sentences. Like it doesn't have to be this long, elaborate thing. You can literally just be like, it was the worst day of my life and I still had to show up anyway. Okay, now let's, right? Like, that's a really bad story. Maybe don't use that one. But just the idea of like, it can actually it can be really simple and it can be really short and it doesn't have to be this TED talk. Not every story has to be this big long thing.
Yeah, and also, this how in storytelling sometimes creating the loops. It's like
Mhm.
maybe you are just mentioning briefly that moment of your story, that bad day, and
Mhm.
then in a separate email you go and you actually share the whole
Yep.
thing and make sense about it. And
Yep.
sometimes I always especially related to privacy, when it's a topic that people are concerning about how much to share and how to do it, is like
Mhm.
you can go and share really superficially and people can still connect. Because
Yeah.
as I like to use the example of health. If someone in
Mhm.
your family has a problem of a really big problem around health, everything in your business will reprioritize because you are reconsidering things. I don't
Right.
need to tell anything about which problem, which member of my family, anything like
Right.
that. We connect with that idea because any of us we have been in a situation where, yeah, you feel like that's the most important part.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's another like really fun way that our two businesses and the way that we serve people interconnect is I know part of what you do is helping people determine what stories to tell. So
Mm.
we've got like, okay, so we can use stories to sell our services, but then what stories do we use? And I'm with you there too, of like, okay, what stories will be most beneficial and impactful for you? And this is one of those places where I really look at my client's human design chart and I really look at those things because their human design chart will highlight the stories that will be best and most impactful for them to tell, right?
Mm.
Like there's a reason why you help people narrow down their stories because we have every moment of our day could be a story. But like, this isn't the Truman Show. That is not how we tell stories. We have to pick which stories to tell. And we would not also be able to tell the same stories, right?
Mm.
Like, we would have different points. Like, even if it's like, okay, find the thing in your life and then I tell my version of that story, that still doesn't mean that we would have the same, it would go as far and have it be as impactful for each of us, right? And so I like using their human design to be able to tell me what kind of stories do you need to be telling so that you can open that loop, so that then you can sell and then maybe close that loop or use that story to demonstrate the thing that's going to help you build the trust, establish that credibility, and sell your thing because your thing is amazing and is wonderful and people need it and it does good in the world and it makes the world a better place. So like, let's not keep that to ourselves. Let's tell people about it.
Mm. Yeah, and this idea of like when you can share the same story in different angles. And of course, here we are talking about emails, but if you are sharing your story and you are telling to a different audience, or you want a different goal or highlighting a different aspect of it, again, this is the strategy behind, because you are sharing a specific story for a reason. So, what is the intention? And then you can think about, okay, yes, I am using this
Mm-hmm.
story as a bridge to talk about this specific benefit of what I offer, or to highlight the point of connection with this audience. So depending on what you are going to highlight, or what is the goal of sharing that story, you can use a different
Yeah.
angle. And even sharing the same story in different ways, because I
Mm-hmm.
with my clients, I always like to tell them, like, when you are like reading a book, starting a book or starting a movie, and they put you in the middle of the action, you don't know what is happening,
Yeah.
but you want to read
Yeah.
more or you want to keep
Yeah.
watching. You can
Yes.
tell your own story in that way,
Yep.
like in the middle of the scenes, or you can start with the benefits and then moving from the benefit to the story to illustrate. Again, using the same story, you can use it in different ways. So I
Yep.
ensure you with the emails, you can
Yeah.
help people to do the same, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because there's to that point of like there are different there are different angles, there are different perspectives, there are different aspects of this that we might want to highlight. And I do love a drop them in the moment story, like just drop them in the middle of it all with a lots of sensory things. I also really like starting a story by telling the people what to think and what to feel and what to expect, right?
Mm.
Because sometimes, my kids will tell me a story. My kids will do this all the time. They'll come home from school and we'll be chatting about their day. Tell me about your day. Tell me what happened. And I have two teenagers, a preteen, and a toddler. So also the variety of stories and storytelling I get is fascinating. But like my teenage daughter will come home and she'll start telling me something and she'll be acting like all aghast and on them like, oh, no way, And then at the end of the story, she'll be like, no, that was amazing. This was not bad. This was great. And I was like, see, I wasn't really sure what to feel or think about the story you were telling me. And I thought we didn't like that person. Yesterday we
Mm.
didn't like them, but today we like them. Okay, that's good. That would have been good information. Okay, got it. And so instead, I'm like, it would have been really great if she would have come in and be like, Mom, this was amazing. Listen to this. And then I know, great, okay, this is an amazing story. I will filter it through that. Right. And so, how can we even do that with our storytelling of being like, this was the best thing in the world? And then this happened. Right. So we
Mm.
can, or like, I was feeling so anxious. I have never been more scared, right? Like my shoulders were in my ears, the tingles were all down my spine, and then walk them through. So if there's a certain feeling that you want your people to be experiencing when they read your stuff, you can kind of set that up in the very
Mm.
first sentence
Mm.
of this is how we're feeling right now.
Yeah, even
And
using the subject line, right? To use it as a way to create people's attention or setting the tone. This is something that you recommend, like using the subject line for that case.
so I have mixed feelings about a subject line,
Okay.
because I actually think that the name, I think people open an email based off of the sender name more than they do
Okay.
based off of the subject line.
Mm.
And I pay attention to this even in my own inbox. I'm really curious about what makes me want to open an email and what's happening, what's going on, and it is the name. Even if I like the subject line, I'm like, okay, but who sent it? And that
Mm.
actually tells me everything I need to know. And then the subject lines I do open are either very curiosity. They've got to like get your attention, but in what way? Because
Mm.
I also don't carry, this is just me, this is like a focus group of one. I don't know that I really remember the subject line by the time I open the email.
Mhm.
And I know it's like less than 2 seconds later. Um, and so even if you're using the subject line to get their attention in some way of like, I cannot believe this happened to me. Um, and then it's like, okay, what? Tell me. And then I open the email. I still kind of need the like, can you believe this? Right in the
Mhm.
top of the email before we get going. So I do think the subject line can be used to give insight, but you have to reestablish it in the email still.
Mm. Yeah, I like that point. And this is something I don't know your experience, but for me as an user, when it's too clickbaity, I don't know if clickbaity is a word.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure it's a word.
so when it's too much, I open it. If I open it, it will be like already I am just okay. This is
Yeah.
suspicious,
Right.
and it's not
Right.
the feeling that I would like for people in my emails to read in that I want them to be
Yes.
curious or open and
Yes.
getting close and not like being already with a barrier somehow.
Yeah, well, that's actually a really great point where I bring it back to the human design of it all. So I will say things like, and I talk about the energetics of email, and I talk about email energetics. And understandably, if that's not a phrase that people have heard, because I have tried Googling it. I literally don't hear it. There's one other company that talks about email energetics, and they are talking about like the literal hardwire of the internet.
Okay.
Like literally, are you plugging your computer in, right? They're talking about that kind of energy. And I'm talking about what you were just describing, which is when you read, you even from just your inbox and you're scrolling through the names or the subject lines, when you say it's clickbaity, my first response is because it wasn't in alignment with who they are.
Mm,
Something about what they said does not match the energy of the person or of the brand or of the business. And
mm,
because of that, when it came through to your inbox, you could tell and you got a little suspicious. This feels clickbaity. Because if
mm,
another person had sent that exact subject line, but it was in alignment with their energy and their business, you wouldn't have thought it was clickbaity at all. And
mm.
that's the energetics of it all, right? Mickey, our friend Mickey, talks about inviting people because that's what her energy says to do.
Yeah.
She is in human design, she's a projector. She is waiting for the invitation and asking for the invitation. That is literally what she does. But if my client is a manifester, and I have written for a couple of manifestors, the very last thing I can do for a manifester is use inviting language, because manifestors just tell it like it is. Here you go.
Mhm.
This is what I'm doing. If you want in, that's how you get in. But I'm doing this. And that's manifestor energy, right? And
Uh-huh.
a manifestor could never invite, and Mickey could never just tell people how it is and either like
Mm.
get on board or get out of the way. Like that, Mickey could never do that well, right? And that's where like those energetics come into play, because if you tell the wrong, it's not even telling the wrong story, but if you're telling a story with the wrong energy, it won't land.
Mm. It's like finding which is your tone, and it's like owning your voice.
Yeah.
And it's like I feel like if what you said, like if it's not aligned somehow, it's like feels forced. And then it's
Mhm.
like this going back to what we started about the stories. You don't need to force them. You are
Yeah.
using them to illustrate what you want to convey and to illustrate that benefit or that part of your offering that it will make sense for your audience, and you are just helping them to understand the context of who you are and why you do
Yeah.
the work that you do, why it's important to you to do that work.
Yeah. 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 I think it would be so fun. And I thought of this like since we've really started to connect and get to know each other some more, Remy, but being able to like overlay, because we come at this from a very similar place. We just call it different things, but really like the Venn diagram of our two businesses is like it's not quite a whole, that looks real awkward. It's not quite a whole circle, but it's pretty dang close, right? Like we have more in common in the middle of our Venn diagram than we do on the outside. And I've always thought it would be so, hello plant. I've always thought it would be so cool for us to try to overlay that and be like, so because I know that you have 10 stories that you help your entrepreneurs, business owners, and speakers identify. And then I know that I look at certain places within the human design. And so it's like, what's one of your stories that you tell people we need to identify and find? And then where in our human design can we look at that and be like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, so here the human design tells us how to tell that particular story. I just think that
Yeah,
would be really fun.
yeah, like really combining both of the frameworks. So yeah, that
Yeah.
will be fun
Yeah.
to explore for sure.
Yeah.
And it's because I like how it's about for you is about finding the right way to tell your story based on who you are and what is your audience. And that's something that for me makes sense because of course when I am working with clients helping them to figure it out which of the stories to share, the first thing that we do is talking about who is the audience,
Mm-hmm.
what is the offering. That's for
Mm-hmm.
me is the most important because it's like I have I have seen how people feel forced or feel the pressure to share their story, like personal brand story in big letters, and they are like, how that makes sense for my business, because they are looking at it almost as a CV perspective, like
Mm-hmm.
this is what I did, and then separately this is what I sell, or this is what I offer, or this is my business about. Of course doesn't make sense because you are looking at them separate, and that's
Yeah.
why for me it's really important the strategic point of view of, okay, I am sharing that part of my story because it's connected to the thing that I want to highlight. And then yes, I have these categories. They are 10 story connectors. Each of them is based on one element of what you make you different. And then it's like, okay, which of these stories, because I work a lot with people that they feel they have so many stories, they don't know which one to choose.
Mm-hmm.
This one part. And the other group is they feel they don't have any story to share because it's not epic enough. So both of them, they have, as you said, anything and everything can be story. Is the like, okay, which one are you choosing and
Yeah.
why are you choosing it?
Yeah.
And then you have the
Yeah.
control of deciding
Yeah.
where and how
Yeah.
to use it.
Yeah. That's so funny because I am that person who I will start with all the pieces. What are all of the pieces? And now with the human design, I can look at it from that perspective. So I might be like, and I've been working really hard. I have I've mentioned this a couple of times, and I'm probably one of those people, Reme, I'm on the second half of that list where it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit of both of like, I guess there's a lot I could say, but I don't really know what to say, like like my whole life could be a story, like which moment do you want? But I've been mentioning lately in a couple of conversations my background in fashion,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody was like, "Wait, you have 15 years of sales experience. We put these things together. You have been selling for a living for the last almost 16 years." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I guess so, right?" And so I've now been thinking like, okay, how do I bring this fashion in? So I know that I want to tell a story about fashion. I now, thanks to my human design, I know that, oh, I'm a builder and doer. So I need to be talking about what I'm building and doing. I know that I bring practical application, and I know that I have a lot of information to share, and people see me as kind of like this expert and authority. I know those things about me. I know that my clients either don't want to put a lot of, they just want to do what they want to do, and they don't want to become the expert in
Mm-hmm.
their email and their strategy. Like they just want somebody to support them. And I know that my people care a whole lot about the relationship building and connection aspect of their business. And so, and then my brain goes, all right, so how do I tell a story that demonstrates all of those pieces? And because I'm trying to bring in my fashion and my sales background, let's find something within my almost 16 years where I can pull that in.
Mm.
And so like my brain does that of like, what are my pieces? And then what's a story that will connect all of those dots and bring all of those things to life?
Mm.
And then when we were talking about selling, when you are when you are demonstrating or showing the pieces of you that people are most drawn to, are most compelling for them, in a way that also shows that you are meeting their needs, spoken or unspoken, you have, like, we're trying to eliminate the barriers to yes, right? Like that's what, when we're selling something, we are trying to get them to yes. And sometimes that means we have to eliminate the barriers. We have to answer the questions that they're asking. Again, spoken or unspoken, they might not even know. I was working with a client this week, and she has a high ticket mastermind offer. And when I was going through, like, hey, what are the questions your people are asking themselves in order to be able to say yes to this offer? One of the questions that I was able to identify was they're asking themselves if it's okay to want more.
Mm.
Is it you? Everything's technically fine. This mastermind is supposed to help me up level. Am I allowed to want more? right? And so I was able to identify, thanks to her human design in her business, like that's a question your people are asking. And she's
Mm,
like, I'd never seen this before. I did not know my people were asking this question. But you can bet your bottom dollar that in her email strategy for her launch and her pre launch, we now have several moments where we are telling people, telling women in particular, that they are allowed to want more and giving them that permission to be able to even want this, to be able to go
mm,
after it, because otherwise they're going to talk themselves out of it every time, right? And so
yeah.
we have to find those things of like, how do you demonstrate the story? How do you demonstrate your point through a story to overcome whatever obstacles are in their mind so that you can get them to a point of yes? That's how you sell.
Mm. I feel like because you said this unspoken, not spoken question that they might have, I feel that that can relate to a lot with fashion and buying and selling fashion, because that the people will might tell you I want this, but then they have all these ideas in their minds and things that they are not telling of what they want to do, like how they want to feel on that clothes or what they want to show with that. So I feel
Mm-hmm.
that that's like a skill that you might have from really really
Yeah,
time
yeah,
ago, because of that
right,
reading the
right,
people in the sense of
right.
what they are saying and what they are not saying.
Right. Yeah, because people would come. I was just reflecting on this the other day of how, because I worked at Banana Republic, which is a not like high fashion, but it's a fancier store for us. And women would come in and they would look at a particular pair of pants. And I know I'm the expert and authority. I'm really good at this. I know my I know what body shape those pants are meant for. And if a woman is looking at those pants and she does not have a body shape that will be flattering in those pants, I would go up to her and in my sales support way, I'd be like, "Hey, I see you're looking at these pants. Would you like me to start a dressing room for you? And by the way, I'm going to I would pick the style of pant that I know would look good on her body, and I'm like, I am actually going to grab you the same size in this style. And I want you to take both into the dressing room. Because when you get into the dressing room and you try this pair of pants on, the one that you've been eyeing, and the mirror does not do nice things for you, I want you to also try this pair of pants on. Because I need you to know it's not you, it's the
Mm,
pants.
mm,
Right? And so I would be like, let's just take both. You can try this out. Were drawn to this pant. It looks great on the model. I get that. Your body shape is going to be better suited in this pair of pants. And there's nothing wrong with you. Those pants were just more made for you. Right? And so there was a lot of that of like, it's not you, it's the pants. So let's do something that serves you. Or they'll tell me like, oh, I saw this person and they were wearing this outfit and they said it came from Banana, so I came in here and I want that.
mhm,
My friend, you don't have the shape or the skin tone that will look good in those colors and that tailoring. Now, what we can do is find you the clothes that will honor your shape, your body shape and size, and your skin color, and really make you bright and glowy. Like that's really what you want. You want to look and feel as amazing as you felt like that other person looked and felt. Those clothes were not the magic sauce, right? It's how those clothes complemented the person's natural innate essence, being. And so let's find you the clothes that will do that for you too. And
mhm.
that's where it goes back to, let's find the stories that are right for you and that are aligned, energetically aligned. And I've been thinking about that word too a lot lately, of like being energetically aligned. And Reme, I think the way that we would talk about it in the same language is being authentic,
Mm.
being honoring and authentic to who you are on like a cellular soul level. Like
Yeah.
let's tell those stories for you.
Yeah, I have a couple of thoughts. The first one that I want to share is like this idea of honoring, like respecting ourselves. Do you feel respected by
Yeah.
the way that you are doing things or not? And something that when you were talking about this clothes and how they make them feel. It was not about the clothes, it's about the feeling that you
Mhm.
want to have when you
Yeah.
are wearing those. Feel that that can relate to templates. You are
Mm.
you see someone
Mhm.
email way of doing, they are sharing their templates, you go with that, but that's not your tone, that's not the
Yep.
way that you will express, but you are trying to force yourself into that template. And it's like, okay, no, let's find your own way of doing things.
Mhm.
I In the Spanish spoken market, there were some one email expert. He was sharing his way of doing things, and then you can open an email and see, okay, this has taken this course, this, because everyone was forcing. He has a specific way of being like rude and controversial,
Mhm.
and so. And then people that were not like that were trying to do that, and you feel it. It's like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
it's not
Right.
working.
That's the energetics. Yes, exactly. Like we
Yeah.
feel just because I that the word is like I don't know what that means, but we do it every time we open our inbox. Every not even the inbox. I mean, you could have in-person conversations with people and you're like, no, the vibe, the vibe is off, right?
Mm.
There's something there. That's just the energetics in action, 100%.
Yeah, and it's like the way that you connect with someone when they are telling something, and with another of these intersection chats, we were talking about public speaking and how when
Mhm.
people are interested, they lean in and they are
Yeah,
really they want to learn more, hear more
yeah.
about you, and they get excited with you and they get emotional, and it's like, yeah, you really connect there with the
Mhm.
person, and that's is based on who you are. And then you need to go deeper in who you are, not going try to put like
Yeah,
masks
right.
in you.
Yeah, yeah, we're not faking it,
Yeah.
and we're not forcing it. Even with an email, I'll tell people that they're like, "Well, I have to send an email," and I was like, "Oh, please don't, actually. If you feel like you have to force yourself to show up, it would actually be so much better for you to not send the email. Like, go
Mm.
do something else. Go go for a walk, eat a snack, go work on something else, have a dance party, take a nap. Like, I don't care, but like go get excited about your business and serving your people and then write the email. And it will
Mm.
serve you so much better than if you're like, well, I've got to write this email. I've got to tell this story. So I'm going to just force it. Like we can feel that. When you send the email, we can feel that your heart wasn't in it and that you were forcing it. And I don't know, nobody wants that. Like
Mm.
nobody wants to be feel like they're being sold to.
Yeah, and the idea that when you see like somehow is like if you are forcing yourself to do until a point, because I know that sometimes we need to actually sit down and start doing the things. Yes, but
Right.
at some point you just get into it and it's like,
Yeah.
yes, this is it, and you get into that. That's okay. But if you are not like that and you are just forcing, the result will be like not.
Yeah.
So there,
Right.
maybe wait for it and read it again
Right.
with a fresh mind, because
Right.
maybe that will work better, and the receive on the other side will be also appreciating that.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Because it's just not worth it. It doesn't feel good to you and it doesn't feel good to us receiving it. And
Yeah.
so it would be so much better. It'd be in better service to your business and it would be in better service to the people you're here to help to be able to send it from a place of or write it from a place of like really feeling the story, really feeling the point and feeling good about it
Yeah.
too, right? Like I think one another place that we will both agree is you have to feel good about the story you're telling.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is one of the things that I see. Some people they feel the pressure of being vulnerable, quote unquote, is that you don't need to. If you are
Mhm.
not okay with sharing something, even if
Correct.
it's the most pivotal moment of your life, you keep it for you and you don't share
Yep.
in your business. You are the one in control
100%.
to decide what to share and what not. And then when you share it, you decide the level of detail as well, because
Mhm.
you are the one in control. but don't do it because you feel forced to do it. You are the
Right.
one deciding what to
Right.
do and what not. And that's
Because it
the
feels performative.
yeah. And also, it's not like you don't want to create a place that is not safe for yourself.
Hmm.
it's your
Hmm.
it's your email channel, so you want to
Hmm.
create a safe space where whenever you're sharing something is because you feel that this is
Yeah.
a space where I want to share this. I
Yeah.
know the impact that it's going to have in the people and
Yep.
how this message is important for me to share to my audience. That's the way, but not because you feel forced to be vulnerable, even if it's not the right time for you to do that.
Yeah. So because of the nature of our work, because of what, and you can tell me if I'm wrong about this too. One thing that I find with some of my business owners is that they feel the pressure of telling the story in the moment that it happens,
Yes.
right? Of like, oh, this happened this week, so I have to send the email about it this week. I can't not tell this story later. And I don't like, first, does that happen with you and the clients that you're working with, or not so much because you're creating 10 core stories that they can use all of the time?
Usually, that's like one piece that usually is more about stories that has happened, not that in the moment, because they
Yeah.
we are looking for like more general. It's not like a new email
Those
every time.
evergreen. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
You
that's
want those
that's
evergreen emails. Yeah.
yeah, that's different. But this it has been the case for someone that is going through something really huge and they is like, I am not ready to share this. And it's like, yeah, it's totally okay. So usually in that space for me has been more the opposite case where they something is happening but they feel not ready for
Yeah.
sharing.
Yeah.
They are yeah, they are telling me this a bit with the shame of I am not ready for sharing this. And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, you are allowed. This is not forcing
Right.
you to anything like that. But I know what you mean. Yes, I have
Yeah.
seen
Yeah.
that in others.
Well, so, and that's where I look at again the human design of it all, because our throat center within human design, one can tell me, do you have consistent access to your voice or not? So, like with you, the way that this might show up with your clients and what you're seeing is people with, so I have consistent access to my voice. You could write out a script and I can go off of the script. I can read
Hmm.
a script, I can memorize a script, I can get to the point where I tell that story the same way every single time. People with an undefined voice center, they do not have consistent access to their voice. They
Hmm.
are better off with, this is the story we're trying to tell. This is the point and the purpose of the story. This is what we want the story to do. And here are bullet point milestones. And so when you go to tell this story, these are the things you're trying to hit. There you go. They will tell the story a little bit differently every time because that's how their voice works, right? So there's that aspect. But then there's also the aspect of there are 11 human design language would be gates, but each of those gates reflect a different type of story, a
Hmm.
different angle of storytelling. And so I also look at those to go, okay, but so what's your angle? And I was working with a client who was also kind of like a mentor of sorts. And I was mentioning how I was really struggling to showing up in a certain way. And she had told me, like, well, as soon as you get off a call, as soon as you have a conversation with a client, like, go talk about it. Like, go, hey, here's what we did, here's what happened, here's what I helped them with, just like go right away. And that wasn't feeling right to me, right? Like, that was not feeling good to me. Well, I was looking at our human design charts and I noticed that one of my storytelling angles is to make sense of the past.
Hmm.
I hold on to experiences, and when the point like becomes clear, then I can talk about it.
Hmm.
Interestingly, in her chart, she does not have that gate, and she has the one that says talk about it in the moment. You are your stories are the present moment. And so from that perspective, it makes so much sense why she was like, oh, when something happens, just talk about it. And it makes sense as to why that did not feel right for me. and how I was like, I don't know. I call that speaking from the scars, not the scabs,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, okay, I'll talk about the scar. I'll tell you what happened, but I cannot do it while I'm actively healing. And sometimes they're my stories, and sometimes they're somebody else's stories,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so, even from that perspective of like, okay, well, what are the best types of stories for you to tell? We have that there too.
Yeah, yeah, and as you say, it's like for some people, telling the story will be a way of healing in a way
Mm-hmm.
that to make things like make sense of things, and for others, it's a different like, process. So it's like
Yep.
learning about yourself and having the resources to really know what is best the best way for you to process things and to interact with your stories is a great way as a in your business, in your life, of course, as well.
Yeah.
But we are talking here about business and emails. But yeah, I feel that this is like a process of learning, which is your style of communication, which is the tone that you feel right about, what are the kind of stories that you feel more towards to explain and feel more comfortable explaining. So all
Mm-hmm.
of that information is useful for you to
Mm-hmm.
address, okay, storytelling in my business and how I am using my personal stories for
Yeah.
highlight my offerings.
Yeah.
Okay, we covered a lot. Before we finish, I would like to ask you if there is any message or anything that we haven't covered and you feel like it's something important for you to share with the people watching.
The only thing that I would say is for anybody who is not fully convinced about email as a marketing channel within their business. Um, and I say this from a place of when most people talk about email marketing, I'm finding, I used to say one of two things came up, but actually something just this last week reminded me that one of three things usually come up. We're thinking about our nurture emails that we send out on a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly type basis. We think of our sales launches when we've got something to sell. Maybe we have bills to pay, and that prompts us to be like, I guess I'm selling something right now, right? And we think of our sales launches. And then I was recently reminded of some people would also pull cold pitching into a way to use email within their
Mm.
business. And I just want to remind people that there's so much more to email than those three things. Email is more than newsletters, launches, or pitches. And that's where we have email sequences. And like, whatever it is that you are pursuing in your life or your business, email is a vehicle to help you get there. So we've talked about how maybe you want to be working less, right? Maybe you are somebody in your family is ill or you suffer from a chronic illness and you can't be on all the time in your business. Well, there are ways that we can set up your ecosystem, which is really just how the different pieces all play together through email to support you while you do the thing you need to be doing or you want to be doing. Like there's so much more to email than newsletters and launches. And so I would remind people that email is not the point. Email is a vehicle to the point. And just like our stories can all be customized to us as people, your email strategy is the same way. There are no two
Mm.
email strategies that look the same. And so if you have written email off, or if you are not like fully convinced that it's worth the time, effort, or energy, I would encourage you that maybe it's not you, it's the pants, right? Like maybe it's the email strategy you have been trying is what doesn't work for you, not so much that you don't work for email. Um, that would be the only other thing I feel like I would want to make sure people knew.
I love that. I love this idea of because I have been in several ways talking about the no one size fits all formula, and I have never heard about that applied to the email strategy. So I love that you bring that point because 100%. And something that I list when you were listening to different type of emails, I remember not so long ago I was listening to a podcast and they were also highlighting the how we overlook the emails that are for our clients, like
Mhm.
onboarding processes
Yep.
and even remarketing, if you will, like
Mhm.
this connection, these conversations happening in emails with your clients, there are spaces for using storytelling and using
Yes.
your stories to
Yes.
reinforce that they make the right decision, or even
Right.
for introducing them to the different stages of the service of the offer. So you can keep using your stories, not just, it's like in the website,
Yeah.
it's not just the about me page, you can use
Right.
it anywhere.
Right.
Same here with the emails.
Yeah, I let one of so I identify 5 sequences. There are 5 sequences that every business can use in some way, shape, or form. How they use them, where they're at, what they look like, all customized. But there are 5 ways that you can use email sequences in your business for sure. The one I think is most important, and most beneficial and valuable to a business and their people is the post purchase or post service
Mm.
sequence. So after someone not just maybe buys from you if you're selling digital products, but after you serve someone, after the project is complete, then what? You can
Oh.
send a series of emails there. It helps you get referrals. It helps you get those reviews that you're after. It helps you like keeps you top of mind. These people already have worked with you. They know what it's like to work with you. They love you. They are your most prime clients and leads. They are your hottest leads, right? Well, the fun part about that sequence is because these people have already worked with you, you can almost tell like those inside joke stories,
Mm.
right? Where everywhere else it kind of feels like, okay, I have to explain this to you so that you can like catch up with me. These people have art like you're already buddy buddy with them, right? You don't have to explain all that stuff. You can tell the inside jokes. You can tell the inside things, and like those are really fun stories that we don't get to tell in those ways very often in our business. But man, that post purchase sequence is a prime place for it.
Love that.
So,
Thank you. This is a nice way to finish with this gem that I need to take note and start my own. So, yes, I have homeworks now. But yeah, so thank you for all the insight and all this nice conversation. Before we finish, I like to ask you about a way for you to summarize that connection between personal brand story and selling through emails, like 1 to 3 words to summarize that.
oh, you even told me this was going to happen. Um, 1 to 3 words to summarize the connection. I like I would say BFF, right? Like they're buddies.
Yeah.
Like that's how they're yin and yang. It's two sides of the same story.
Yeah, nice. I like it. For me, I would say action driven, because I feel that they feed each other in this
Mhm.
moving someone to do something. So yeah, I love your way of summarize. Okay, thank you
We
so
said the
much.
same thing, just different words.
Yeah. Thank you for this. Really, it was a pleasure to have this conversation. And for anyone watching, just feel free to reach out if you have any question, if you are curious about how Breanna is using human designs and emails and her framework about email energetics. And also, if you have any question or any comment about our conversation, what we were sharing, just feel free to reach out. The links are in the description. Thank you so much and see you soon.